From the labyrinth of loops to the variable valley, we'll see the cliffs of value first. JavaScript's right up your alley. Built-ins, bluff, file spas, array, archipelago. Declarations in a desert where you'll find out how far you'll go. Learn to program, take a ride, buy a ticket, step inside. All aboard, you're at the station to increase your education. Bon voyage and skinny dip! As long as functions you don't skip on this, the JavaScript road trip.
Howdy road trippers, hope you enjoyed level 1 and now you know how to make some data, but we need to know where to store it. So that's what we're going to do in the next level. Here comes level 2, Variable Valley. JavaScript uses variables to store and manage data. You can see here a basic assignment syntax for a variable called train whistles. That var is the variable keyword. It's what tells the browser to set some space aside for the variable itself. The next thing you see is the train whistles name. That's the name of the variable. The equal sign is the assignment operator. Notice that it's a single equal sign. And lastly, the value 3. That's the value that's going to be stored inside our variable train whistles. Now, when we call the variable train whistles, we automatically get a value of 3 returned to us. Now there are some rules and regulations that we follow in JavaScript for naming variables. The first is that we can't have any spaces in the variable name. The compiler will return an error to you if you try to put spaces inside a variable name. The next thing is that we can't have any digits at the front of our variable names. We don't like that, the compiler doesn't like that. We can use underscores, although they're often irritating. We can use dollar signs. I think not. We can even use dollar signs and underscores together. So this is slightly stupid, but it's technically legal. Now here's a great variable name. Notice that the beginning is a lowercase letter, and every subsequent word is capitalized. You may have heard this referred to as camel case. And then this final variable name uses a digit at the very end.
Fatality.
What if we wanted to change a variable's contents? Guess what? It is your lucky day. Currently, our train whistles variable is set to 3. But if we wanted to change our train whistles amount, we just reuse the assignment operator and set it equal to a new value. Notice that we don't use the var keyword because the console already knows that the variable train whistles is inside memory. Now our train whistles value is 9. We can also use the train whistles value itself to modify the contents of the train whistles variable. Here you can see that we're saying take the train whistles value, add 3 to it, and store it back inside the train whistles variable. Now, because the earlier value of train whistles was 9, we get 9 plus 3 stored in train whistles, which results in a 12. Another way to say that exact same expression is with the plus equals operator. That signals to the console to take the train whistles variable and add 3 to it and store it back inside the train whistles variable. Now we have 15 total train whistles. All of the operations can be used with variable assignments. Here we can see that the train whistles variable is being multiplied by 2 before being stored back inside the train whistles variable. Now we have 30 train whistles. And again, the times equals operator is the exact same as the previous expression, and we get 60 train whistles. Whoa, 60 whistles, that's a lot. Variable names can also act as substitutes for the data they point to. That means that I can use variables inside of concatenations with strings to refer to the data that's actually inside the variable. Here you can see a concatenation of all of our trains have with the variable train whistles and then the string whistles. What happens in the output? All of our trains have 3 whistles. The variable name disappears, and instead, the data that the variable contains is placed inside the string. Additionally, we can place variables inside of expressions that are concatenated with strings. In this string, when train whistles is multiplied by 3, we get 9, and in the final string we see, but the Pollock 9000 has 9. But wait, this code kind of sucks a little bit, because the Pollock 9000 needs its own whistles variable. Let's do that. All we have to do is declare a new variable, we'll call it the Pollock 9000, and then assign that expression that we were using in the string to this new variable. And now we can see that the Pollock 9000 has 9 train whistles. Now that the Pollock 9000 has its own variable, we can use that inside the string. There's a simple way to increase or decrease a variable's value by 1 in either direction. This is called incrementing and decrementing. Here, on the left side, you can see that we have train whistles plus plus, which is a simple syntax for increasing a variable's value by 1. Now you can see the train whistle's value is 4. If we wanted to decrease the variable by 1, we would have used a minus minus syntax, which would have produced a value of 2 inside the train whistle's variable.